Welcome to Breaking Solo, how solopreneurs break barriers, build brands, and embrace the future of business.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Breaking Solo. I have an excellent guest with me today, Richard Cook. Richard, thank you for being with me.
It's a pleasure, Donna. Great to see you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Absolutely. So tell the audience what you do.
So I'm the founder and managing director of a B2B PR consultancy based in London, working internationally. Our company is called Champion Communications. You can find out more about us on www.championcomms.com. We help B2B businesses thrive primarily in the UK and then beyond. Largely because the editorial landscape in the UK, as you may know, Donna, is of a very high threshold, perhaps one of the highest in the world. And often the content that we create to engage journalists and analysts and to help our clients win awards and generate third-party endorsement is normally of such a standard by virtue of the editorial environment that we're operating in, that content works very well in international markets as well. So we help primarily B2B technology companies that are North American land, expand, and thrive in the UK.
Awesome. So you started off being solo, though, right?
Well, I started off in 2007 with a business partner, and she and I were both account directors working together for a larger PR consultancy. And one of my clients at the time said to me that they wanted me to work for them individually. And so my colleague and myself set up our own business. But within, I think it was the first 6 months, she became pregnant and took obviously a maternity break. And then when she came back, I'd got used to, so it was accidental because I was meant to be doing this as a partner in a partnership, but I got used to the kind of independence and the responsibility and the demands of running a business on my own. Quite liked it. And also, this is not for the faint-hearted. Running your own business, as I'm sure many of your guests will tell you, you have to give it 110%. And as brilliant and as talented, exceptional my business partner at the time was, she had different priorities because she just had her first baby and she didn't really want to go on that journey. So it was by accident and then by design that I ended up becoming a solopreneur.
That's great. So tell me, what has been the biggest challenge in your solopreneur journey?
People is the biggest challenge. And it never gets any easier. Whether that's clients, whether that's dealing with the internal politics within clients, which is always frustrating, or whether it is dealing with the complexities of employing and hiring people, extremely challenging, I think. And it's something that I'm constantly learning and looking to improve. There was a period of time when I was running the business at the beginning, when we launched the business. It was at the time that the likes of Google and Facebook and all these big tech giants were setting up corporate cultures that included things like duvet days and all sorts of strange like slides in the office and all sorts of free lunches and all these sort of perks. And so as an independent consultant running a team that I was recruiting on the go and competing for talent with these giants was extremely difficult. And corporate culture was a hugely important part of the business plan in those days. I think that's really changed, actually. I think people now value flexibility and independence much more than having something soft and cuddly in the office to experience. And I think the pandemic has helped with that, or helped or moved that forwards. But yes, the people are constantly the most complex part of my business.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Which is why I like my space around me and no people around me.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
So
And
how
so,
did you, go ahead.
So I was going to say, so that was in 2007, and then from there we grew, and I actually built the business so that we had a team of, I think it was about 20 people at one point. But then I got married, I emigrated to Brazil, and I now run Champion Communications from Sao Paulo, although the business is still running in London. And I work remotely with a London office. I don't know if that classifies exactly as a solopreneur, but certainly the work on a day-to-day basis is very, very solitary.
Yes, for sure. So how did you find the unique niche in the market? How did you determine what that was?
It found ours actually, because our first client was a huge B2B tech vendor. My credentials had been in technology and in the media industry and in the digital space. And what I realized was that public relations was regarded, I was listening to a client and I think the client was talking about the work that I was doing. I said, "Oh, you guys are just churning fluff." And I thought that was a very diminutive term and also very dangerous. If a client thinks that we're just churning fluff, that's not a particularly valuable place to be. And
Right.
then so I was noodling on that, thinking, okay, well, I know that what we do is much more than that. We're engineering third-party endorsement. And I read the book by Simon Sinek, Why? And actually, he came to the office that I was working in, Start With Why. And I thought, well, why is this whole industry? What's the objective of all the other PR consultancies out there? Why do people hire us? I spoke to some clients, wanted to find out what was the objective. What do they get from us? And what it boiled down to was essentially we were there to help businesses sell more. And so I created a sort of a model that connected the work that we do as B2B PR consultancies with demand generation and lead generation. And we became very well known, award winning, and very focused on that benefit that earned media and third party endorsement can create in terms of helping make it easier to sell more. And so that became our niche and became the area of focus for Champion Communication. So it was really by listening to the clients and then understanding and just philosophizing, where is the why? What is the reason? And I needed to get away from that churning fluff new label that so many of the people in the PR industry are kind of known for, it felt very vulnerable to be in that position. So I needed to be able to show bottom line impact, and so it became about optimizing markets to help make it easier for people to sell more.
It's actually a good thing that that client said that to you early
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I was shocked and horrified when he said it, but actually it was the biggest gift because it really prompted me to think we need to be more than this and we need to be more explicit about the reason why. So yes, it was a fortuitous snub, I think.
Yes. It made you dig deep though, so that's all good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. There's an opportunity in the adversity.
Absolutely. So tell me, what kind of industry trends do you think solopreneurs should be paying attention to right now?
I think it's an amazing time to be a solopreneur. I don't think there's ever been a better time to break out and do it on your own. Um, The main reason for that is because I think that technology has served us in the service industry, at least, as a great democratizer. So in the past, as I said, I had a team of 20 people that were doing everything from scanning the news, writing press releases, creating agendas, and doing all the kind of administrative processes that were required to create a, a third party engagement program. Now, you don't need this army of people behind you. You can do this on your own with the technology that's now available. Um, it's very easy to be able to deliver the same breadth of services that you would have to do if you had a large team. Not very easy, but it's now possible. Sorry, to nothing's very easy, but it's now much more possible than it ever was, I think, to deliver the kind of results, professional results as an independent operator than the big agencies with all the resources behind them.
I agree.
I think it's never been more exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So
But not without its challenges, because of course, everybody can do it. So it's on the same. I look at a lot of the agencies that we compete against, they're all in a kind of race to show that they've got the next thing, the next thing. But in reality, an independent person can achieve that just as readily and just as quickly, more so now than ever before.
yeah, I think you're totally right. That is, it has become much easier to do that as long as you can stay focused and energized to keep doing the work.
Totally. And I think that we've both used the word easier. And I don't think the word is easier. I think it's just become possible.
That's
And
that's
in the
a good
past,
way to
in the past, it wasn't hard; it was impossible. So it wasn't even a question. Whereas I think now the possibilities are far greater.
Yeah, I agree. So, do you have a tool, an app, a resource that you can't live without in your business?
Many. Um, in terms of apps, I've just moved away from being devoted to LinkedIn, which I love. I love LinkedIn. I think it's very interesting and very. I'm now so into Substack,
Oh, yeah.
and I find the quality of discourse and the variety of topics that are on Substack just enriches my life tremendously. Because whereas I think LinkedIn has become a lot of content on LinkedIn is a lot it is self-aggrandizing. Um, there's lots of sort of, I think the term is humble brags. I'm delighted to announce that I've just won this award or what have you. There's not much that I can get my teeth into on LinkedIn. And actually, despite the fact that I think I follow maybe 5,000 people on LinkedIn, a lot of the content's kind of the same. Whereas on Substack, I get exposed to ideas and thoughts and questions and challenges that and people that I never thought that I would have access to. So that's one of them. Of course, like probably everybody else, I'm addicted to Chat GPT and Claude, and I'm constantly discovering new things that I can do with that. In fact, I don't know if anybody else can. I don't know if you can relate to this, Donna, but I find that Chat GPT Claude technology just keeps taking massive leaps forward in terms of how useful it is and how valuable and its output is, and it seems to be getting to know me and understand the kind of questions that I'm asking. So I think I've just scratched the surface on that. I'm very excited by that. Um, but then I really love basic, simple things like an email newsletter from one of my favorite writers just came in, Mark Bukowski, who's a PR grandee in the United Kingdom. Um, and so just some of the sort of more straightforward technologies still have a big place in my consumption.
That's awesome. So, I've done 2 things with Claude recently that, really kinda blew me away. One was, I had it organize my downloads folder, which
Oh,
was
what a
a
great
mess.
idea! Oh wow, I didn't know you could do that.
I was blown
Amazing.
away. Yes, I was blown away with what it did. And the second is right now I'm working with Claude to write the code for, an app that a client needs, and
Amazing.
it's telling me step by step what to do. It is
Fantastic.
crazy.
I just was doing some research on AI because obviously we do public relations, and a big part of what we do means talking to journalists. And at the moment, a large number of our clients are very keen and focused on AI visibility. They want to make sure that their message is being read by AI models and then fed back to people who are browsing for solutions. And so I was looking at there's so many different ways in which you can sort of SEO content so that AI models find it. But then I thought about this and I thought, well, OpenAI has got license agreements with a very specific and publicly stated number of media outlets. So I've used Claude to identify which are those media outlets, whether they're broadcast, print, online, whatever they may be, that have got publicly stated OpenAI license agreements. So in other words, who is OpenAI paying for content from? And which of the publications have got journalists that are writing about the topics that our clients are involved with, whether that's HR tech or enterprise technology or data center management or hospitality tech. And it's produced the most pristine, beautiful list of media that we can target, knowing that their output is prioritized and sought after by the AI models. Now, once I'd figured out and wrestled with the AI model, which, to be fair, took the patience of us, it took more patience than I had, but was a wrestling match. It wasn't an easy thing. But once I'd done it, I could then repeat it for all the different verticals that we look after, and it was done instantly. I think that the challenge is just getting the feeling of the system, but then that the power that you get from it is amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. Um, okay, so what kind of daily habits or routines help you to stay focused and productive?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm working from Sao Paulo. My office is 4 hours behind our London office. And so my daily routine absolutely starts at 5 a.m. Because that's 9 a.m. for London. I have my first conference call at 6 o'clock in the morning every day. Um, and when that first occurred to me that this is what I was going to have to do if I was going to enjoy life in Sao Paulo, I thought this is going to be awful. I can't cope with the life that starts at 5 a.m. every morning. It has been such a gift, that discipline of getting up at 5 in the morning, having my breakfast, walking the dog, clearing my mind, having my conference call with my team. And I'm really lucky. I've got the most incredible team, but having that conference call, that connection with the team on the ground in London, we check in on the news, it really plugs me in. And that means that by 6:30, 7 o'clock, we're up and running, and I'm in my time zone, up and running and firing on all cylinders. That and a really good coffee machine are very important to keeping me focused and energized.
That's great. Wow. Yeah, I would have initially had the same reaction you did. 5 a.m.? I don't think so,
Yeah.
but you get used to what you have to do.
Y- It's true. You do get used to it, and it becomes normal very quickly, which is a bit of a uh, there's a downside to that because, of course, Saturday and Sunday, when one doesn't need to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, my body clock's already doing
Yeah,
that, and the dog is also. So it's a 5 a.m. start for me every morning. That helps.
I'm sorry about that, but.
No, it's fine. I'm very happy with it.
So, what's one piece of advice that you'd give somebody that's just starting their solopreneur journey?
When I first started on my own, everything was catastrophic. So within the first few months, my business partner telling me that actually she was pregnant, she was going to have to take maternity leave. I thought that was the end of the world, the end of the business, the end of my livelihood. Then we won a client, then we lost the client, and I thought that that was the end of the world. Then a member of staff came and then left, and I thought that was the end of the world. Then a client was late to pay, and then somebody wasn't signing a contract, and all these things seemed really significant, really catastrophic, and terrifying. Really, really terrifying. Now, I mean, what is this? Is now 2016, so we're quite some time away from 2007. I still have access to that panic and that terror that wakes me up in the middle of the night, and I've learned to live with it. I don't think it will ever go away, and I think it's important. You mentioned being energized before. I think a lot of that energy comes from a positive place, which is about wanting to do great work, wanting to support my team, wanting to see the business succeed. But a lot of that energy comes from fear. And actually, the thing that happened for me was very early on when my business partner said she was going to leave the business. And I really thought it was catastrophic. We weren't even a year old at that point. I thought this is the end. The jolt of adrenaline that I got from that, I actually learned to use as a tool. So I think rather than battling the terror that comes with being a solopreneur, and rather than making myself wrong or invalidating those feelings, actually acknowledging them, allowing myself to have them, but then doing something about it, I think would be a piece of advice. Don't be afraid of fear.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, do you have any exciting projects or launches you'd like to share with the audience?
Oh, thank you. Yes, lots. Well, we've got um, a podcast series of our own that we are um, very much focused on at the moment is called Crossing the Pond, and it's really talking about businesses that are looking to enter into the UK, either from North or South America, and that's an exciting project. The second thing is we've also stepped into podcast production on behalf of our clients, which I'm very excited about. That's a great process. I really enjoy that because you get to listen and learn so much from people who are recording their interviews. We've also got a new program that we're going to be launching in the next few months, which is about managing the ambassador programs for our clients. And so basically, we all know that case studies are like hen's teeth. They're very hard to find, they're very valuable, really important. They take a lot of work. And often the same companies get asked time and time and again to be put forward for a media opportunity, for an award, so we've got a program that we're going to be launching, which is about finding, inspiring, and rewarding advocacy on behalf of our clients. So it distributes the burden of being an ambassador across a number of different clients. It helps us to unlock more editorial stories, but also, and I've seen this work time and time again, it really galvanizes the connection between a vendor and the decision maker if they're doing and creating things together, whether that's campaigns or responding to media opportunities or entering awards or speaking at events and things like that. And we all know how much the media and AI love case studies. We're going to be launching a suite of services going to be designed to help with that.
That's awesome. So tell the people where they can connect with you and learn more about what you do.
Championcoms.com, COMMS, which if I'd have thought about it at the time, I wouldn't have chosen as a URL or as an email extension. But anyway, there we are. That's also something else that I would advise anybody who's starting a business. Really think about how is it going to be. It's such a simple thing, but championcoms.com which has been so problematic, but it's now so established that I'm scared to change it. So if I had the chance to do something again, I would change that.
That's awesome. Listen up, audience. That's a great tip right there.
So simple. It would have saved me so many things, so many problems if I got that right.
Richard, thank you so much for being with me today. I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversation.
Donna, great to meet you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone. See you on the next episode of Breaking Solo.